What a dream start for FUT. I'm joined by their coach, Gaius, and Scala, who's going to be doing some translations. Now, Gaius, we saw some changes from your team on Pearl. Nothing new. You guys like to change your comp throughout the season, but your opponents, T1, they still have not changed their comp once this entire year. So for you as a coach, in terms of preparation, do you feel like that made it easier and made them a little bit more predictable today?
Guys, yani direkt söyleyebilirsin, tamamdır.
Yani biz EMEA'dayken kompları rakibe göre sadece bir Navi'ye göre değiştirmiştik açıkçası. Ama çok kolay okunabilir mi? Yani aynı kompla başka taktikler de ortaya çıkabiliyor. O yüzden de açıkçası bu soruya tam olarak evet veya hayır diyemem. Ama sadece EMEA zamanında sadece Navi'ye karşı komp değiştirmiştik. Onun haricinde hiçbir takıma biz ekstradan komp değiştirmedik. Ve T1'da ekstradan bir komp değiştirmediği için nasıl duygular içinde olduğunu anlayabiliyorum. Ve her zaman aynı kompla çok daha fazla şey çıkabiliyor ortaya.
We haven't changed our compositions that much throughout the year. We had changed it against Navi during EMEA. And in terms of answering your question, I cannot give a definitive answer because sometimes you can just employ different tactics using the same comp. So I can say that I can feel exactly, I know exactly how they feel. Sometimes you change stuff, sometimes you don't change stuff, but the outcome is the same. So yeah, in terms of predictability, I cannot say something specific. But yeah, that is it.
Well, thank you very much, guys. You guys had a great start, and thank you very much, Scala, for translating. Let's see if FUT can close this out.
Always good to hear there from the coach from FUT. And, you know, I think, wait, Mimi, why do you have so many?
Dude, I'm having a good time.
Why are you having a good time?
FUT won. They only got one international win before. The series is over, dude. It's done.
You're calling the series right now.
You want to have some fun, right? It's a party. We should be celebrating. This is a big moment for FUT. It's been a while since a Turkish team has been this competitive on an international stage.
Sure. Okay. That was actually not planned. I should put this pen away before I lose that like a clown.
It's a happy moment.
Okay. You know what?
Are you not
Here,
happy?
crowd, have fun with it. Go nuts. That's for you.
Guys believers?
That's for you. Go nuts. What's the worst that could happen, right? Anyway, guys, let's go ahead, though. I think that's how T1 was feeling going into this
seriously,
one. Yes.
FUT just dominated them. They've got a shark out on stage. FUT has never had more fun. They're already celebrating, too. Why shouldn't I?
The vibes are immaculate right now.
I am perplexed as to, when you look at the compositions, when you look at how this game played out, Baby, you wouldn't necessarily have thought that it would work out the way that it did, but the fact that FUT just completely dismantled T1, I don't think anyone had that on their bingo card.
No, definitely. I think that T1 actually couldn't have played more into FUT's hand. I actually think the entire way they approached this whole
and how so?
Well, just trying to rush into sites against a comp that is meant to have heavy retakes and heavy floods. You know, they didn't try to work the map in certain ways. The one round they did came down to what, a 1v3 at a Kaplan, and that was the best chance they had in the round. So.
And one of the other reasons that's so rough to not be playing the mid-round is because you look at this comp. Normally you have Sky that's regenerating. You have Harbor who has a regenerating wall. With KO, you only have 2 flashes that are never coming back. With Brim, you only have 3 smokes that are never coming back. So you need to take your time on the attack to bait out that utility, or you're just going to be running into the strengths of your opponent's composition, and that's exactly what happened to T1.
Yeah, that's rough as well, right? Because you see the composition that T1 busted out and you think this is going to be fine. You know, this is the bog standard of what we've seen on Pearl, and then to just get shut down the way that they did. And it wasn't even, yes, of course, compositions were a problem, but also they were snapping. They were hitting those shots. Speaking of hitting shots, that actually takes us right over to our aim lab shoot around. Look at that transition as we go to Mr. Fallen's POV. But let's just continue, though, Baby Bay, to talk a bit more about what we've seen from FUT, because it really was a dismantling. And now you have to ask yourself, how does this T1 team get back into it? But more importantly, how does FUT prevent that from happening? Because it really feels like they're riding a high at this point.
I think FUT's just I think they're actually going to take it from here, because I think that they're just flowing so well right now. Their energy, everybody across the board is popping off. You had Kiwi just dashing into people because he's really feeling it now. You know, you had Captain just going brazy on the retakes, and then
Maj had 30 clutches.
The Viper he clutched 4 times.
it was ridiculous what he managed to pull off. So many of these players just seemed confident, comfortable. And Tom was talking about this right at the end of the cast, but FUT is a team that in the past have struggled with mental issues, with it going down and not really being able to get that energy back in. But when this team starts strong, when they get that momentum, it is so incredibly hard to shut them down. So T1 are really going to have a big task on map 2.
Yeah, they definitely are here as we get ready for this upcoming map. We're going to be moving on to Haven for map number 2. And, you know, I guess looking at this one here, this is a great opportunity now, Mimi, for this team to be able to close this one out. And, oh, we're getting some Gecko. Love to see it.
Yeah, FUT has been playing this, so not a huge surprise in the Prime Gaming Agent Select, but they play this comp really well. The main thing I'm looking at is when they switch to the attacking side, how predictable are they? Because with this Gecko, I felt like they were really often telegraphed with how they were using Dizzies on the execute, and better teams were punishing that. But they start on defense, where I think they play this comp really well, especially for the retakes that were so great in map 1, Baby Bay.
Yeah, and I thought that T1 getting attack on a lot of these maps would be an advantage to them, but after watching how they played that attack on Pearl, I'm not confident in that anymore, and I just feel like I hope I get to see them work a little bit more of the maps. Even though this is a completely different map and it's played differently, I still think that they need to find these timings and try to get the utility out a little bit, you know, before they decide to pick a site and hit it. Because I think that the game plan of FUT right now, they just read them perfectly.
It has to be Zeta to bring this team back. The IGL, he has been shown to have adaptability, to be able to go for these fast executes and also slow the game down and work the map. They need to play into that mid-rounding, which has been a strength for T1 in the past, but I think they really failed to harness on Pearl.
Yeah, and without a doubt, there's going to be like you know, the nerves, right? The caution that T1 had probably a bit more while they were playing certainly could maybe lead to them feeling a bit overwhelmed with the moment here. They're going to need to shut down this FUT team early.
Think of what these players have accomplished in the past. You have champions from different games. You have players who have had already storied careers here in Valorant. To go out early, to go to lower bracket in Champions, the biggest tournament, after all the improvements you've had this year, would be a massive disappointment for T1. So the pressure is on right now for them to recover in this second map.
100%. All eyes are going to be on T1, but can FUT close it out in 2? Let's send it back over to Mitch and Tom for the call.
Well, it's been an incredible start to FUT's run here in Los Angeles, but it isn't over yet. Now it's their map choice, and we are certainly not slowing down. The side of T1 had a lot of fast-paced takes, and kicking off this map, it's just the same. Saya denied that early fight, though. The Cloudburst not going to stay up for long. Their safe haven deteriorating out of Captain Falls, too. Maj putting up a good performance, but not good enough. It's left down to the Gecko of Cracks. And Tom, we've seen Gecko quite a bit. It hasn't been something to write home about for the side of FUT so far.
I don't even know if he'll use any of it. Just needs to land the shots. And that's where Crack seems to do his best work. If you didn't have enough of the FUT clutches in the last map, well, they're right back in a 1v2 to kick things off. I believe from the last map, they had some like 80+% 4v5 conversion rate. It's truly unbelievable what this team is able to do. And right off the bat, that confidence is off the charts. Now, one of the things is, I agree with the desk. I think the initial showing of this composition of Gecko was great. Like when they were playing it in EMEA, it looked strong. Then they tried to bring it to the international stage, and they got bullied, like even losing to attacking Sol, which on this map. So I'm waiting to see if they have managed to adapt, find anything new. But I'll be honest, at the moment, it hasn't really looked like they've needed to throw in anything new versus the side of T1. They have been able to win out a lot of these gunfights just off individual brilliance.
Very much so. The clutches, look, if they're going to continue to go FUT's way, then yeah, you can write this series off. T1 got to start to feel deflated. Got 4 rounds so far in the series. We move on to the second here, and it's, you know, a decent bit of fighting potential. 4 sheriffs for the side of T1. They're already getting up close, looking for some opportunities. Found some, not converted. And shot after shot landing for Kiwi. That Marshall dangerous in a round like this. Nobody has shields. So you just shred straight through them. Interesting that you have even flank attempts coming through. This isn't the kind of round where I'd expect players to try to get behind with weapons like a Bulldog, but it will pay off.
Yeah, no, they don't even take any damage throughout the entirety of this round. Very clean from the side of FUT. Now, the last couple of times T1 played this map, it was versus EDG, and they definitely struggled to pin down the likes of Can. Well, whether or not you rate Kiwi quite as highly, he definitely has the same confidence. I don't think anybody's going to question that amount. This is an important round. Still a few weapons to play with here for FUT, but ultimately this is where T1 should get right back onto the board. And I'm liking this. We're seeing this more from Cracks. A lot of early mollies just instantly being popped. Same happened on the last map as well.
FUT really like to go for those spams, huh? Through every smoke that they can possibly find. And yeah, some decent damage starting it off. Saya player next to no shields. But it's only a little tickle. The third round sees T1 play it slow, waiting for that aggression to come out from FUT, waiting for Maj perhaps to go walkabouts on middle, like we saw towards the end of the previous round. But as we said, this is a squad that, despite many conversations around their fundamentals previously, I think their discipline has improved a lot. I mean,
since the early days, definitely.
Yeah, right?
Go back to the VLRs, yeah, definitely.
It's a much better face to this squad.
Oh, a minute gone. A bit less to play, but this is where the execution's going to come through again. Saya leading the charge, and he will find that opener. Maj unable to do too much, but his teammates at least trying to trade things back. This time, though, a little bit of damage to Carpe, but other than that, they've kept things relatively clean. And the only interesting really thing when we talk about compositions for these two teams, it's not so much about change of agents, it's change of personnel. Watching the switch up of Adacaptain taking over that controller. The same for Carpe, taking over Sentinel. Slight role switches, but nothing different in terms of what agents are actually being run. For now, Kiwi, anything he can find will be nice, but Carpe is going to land that shot and a much cleaner start to this second map for T1, as they will get themselves around with 4 players alive.
Yeah, we're still seeing the same thing. We heard from Baby Bay over on the desk that, this squad of T1, playing into FUT's hands a little bit, just all-out aggression, bursting their way into sites, and the composition previously ran. FUT were able to respond every single time, and then adding in the fact that this is a squad that likes to concede space and take you down with wall bangs on the way through, or even just shots through the smoke. We saw that same thing from T1 here, bursting into A, taking the control. Although on a map like Haven as well, you're certainly going to get your reward for that.
Yeah. They were a little more patient, though. That's the thing. It wasn't like instant in the round. They had time for some of that utility to be burnt out, so slight adaptation. This time, though, it is direct. Very direct indeed. The first 20 seconds of the round may have gone, but already into the site they go. And, well, you mentioned smoke spams. There's one apiece. Yeah,
Maj managed to catch them on the way through. That's the problem. They knew where he was spamming from, and well, a lucky shot on the return gets them the reward. Flash for right side, but no follow-up. They're not looking to take that control, but they have spotted the operator around here. It's good information to play with. Thrash on the way through, and it catches nobody. They've sidestepped it completely. Not going to be retrievable in its current position. Adacaptain falls, and T1, they are in with a serious chance now, locking these players out of control. A quick double kill. It doesn't seem to be enough. Ooh. Even if that shot was connected for Kiwi, it would be a tough clutch. But with 2 opponents still standing, it's time to get out of there.
Yeah, good work from them. The ultimate as well from the side of FUT, not really placed in a position. I think the only players that actually could have caught were his own teammates if it went a little bit deeper. Opportunities to find something with that, but T1 have managed to hold on in their post plants, already looking a little bit cleaner in that regard. And for FUT in this next round, it's going to be interesting, because you've got Kiwi one away for a Bladestorm. A kill for him could put him onto the board. And on the other side of things, full rifles, a decent economy already being built up. This is a chance for T1 to actually take the lead in this series.
Certainly the feeling of recovery for that squad if they can make it across this line. Very weak weaponry all across the board. It's Kiwi they have to avoid. And if they can do that in the early round, then that's already half the task out of the way. Stuns, 1 apiece. It's slowed T1 slightly, but it has ultimately denied Kiwi's opening aggression. He wanted to be here with that operator. He wanted to be taking the fight down on short. Instead, look at where FUT are forced to go. Right out of the site. Playing way back. Kiwi's still good for 1. But again, it comes down to the weaknesses that are backing him up on this hold. Really nothing to work with, and if it's not the operator finding the kill, the chances go way down.
Yeah, he's got the Blade Storm for the next round, so was willing to take a risk, and a risk being taken by the entire squad. They've thrown in the lockdown here. Zeta trying to hold on the edge of it, and he's actually going to get 2 with the spam. I thought maybe 1 at best. Okay, sure, he's going to go down, but he's already cost the entirety of the round. Cracks again, going to reduce the finances brought through, and you know what? Mr. Fallen should get out of there with an operator. Considering the investment, it's not too bad, but more importantly, I'm liking the goal of Zeta. A little bit more aggression, a little bit more up in the faces of FUT, something that I think was missing in the previous map. And well, they are going to get themselves the lead for it.
Yeah, it's interesting, you know, in a round like that, you think that without the Hunter's Fury, there's nothing that Zeta can do to get value out of the lockdown, but, well, certainly does it. Leaving it down to the literal last second as well to go for that spray and catches both of them. That's got to be so frustrating. Because, look, if it wasn't for those kills, you see the potential there, even in the 1v2 at the end. That could have went their way. They would have had smokes online to try and deny some of the line of sight when they go for the defuse. 3 rounds, and that's the lead for T1.
Moj is actually going to be the one on the op, purely based off that Blade Storm. Multiple players, in fact, the whole team setting up exactly where Kiwi's going to be going. He's got to get out of there very quickly. The counter util's been good, but Saya player is going to meet those blades. I feel like this is a moment where if you're T1, you go, nah, don't really fancy heading into that site. Still looking to check if that control's been taken by their opponents, but they are now going to start feeling out the map a little bit more.
Yeah, their issue is just how little control they can actually hold on to. Not having, like, your turret even sat on middle. These players could have pushed down. They could be in the window by now, wrapping up behind. That's not even talking about the A site. You know, ultimately, when you start a round like this, a minute in, your only opportunity is to go towards C. But with Kiwi down, that opportunity now is a little bit more promising. Good stun, good delay, but the follow-up, the thing of legends. Sure, Mr. Fallen will go down, and some damage is found as well. But they managed to stall out that C push. And from the shadows, used to fake out that they're taking this to A. The fake is not sold, though. FUT still have 2 players here. One in the form of Adacaptain, the other being Cracks, and that angle is certainly held down by Cracks. Well done for FUT to find a third.
Yeah, I feel like you could always rely on that man when it comes to getting a double kill, and again, I don't know how, just with the spam through the smokes, it was a stun through. I'm also just looking at Adacaptive right now with 0 kills and 11 assists. One of the most ridiculous stat lines we've had so far in this tournament. See how many that continues on to, but just really clean individual fights. And I do think that's one of the aspects of T1 that has been missing a little bit. It's very difficult versus FUT. They're extremely high when it comes to the skill ceiling, but they haven't been trading effectively and just allowing players like that to almost take over. Early stun, and Kiwi already taking that space. He's going to get one for free. No, it's actually a miss.
Well, he's got the drone at least, but not quite the same reward. Gets back in time to be caught by the Rolling Thunder. Pretty much out of this round for a few seconds, and he'll be caught by Ban, who's doubling up on the site. Mr. Fallen catches them blinded up on site before he's dropped, but they can't get ahead in the fights. It's still Moj left in a 1v2. T1 have got the plant in. Now they can hold this down together, even looking to double swing it, and the double not needed. Munchkin quick to the trigger. The lead stays with T1.
It's just a brawl. Such direct hits coming in from T1. Utility was solid off the bat. Like, Kiwi was completely screwed. But again, in those moments, you just see someone from FUT come alive. Mr. Fallen making this one look competitive for a second. But this time, T1 is there on the trades. But that's the thing. Like, some of these rounds have genuinely been over within the first 25 seconds, just with how pacey T1 have been going in with the hits. It's only if they're denied by initial util that they stop, and by the looks of things this round, they're going into A in the same sort of pace.
Oh my, look how quickly the pushes come through from Adacaptain. Sure, there's a fight, a brawl, in fact, going down on short, but they have full middle control as well. At the same time, you know, FUT, they give it up late into the round. Probably good that they did. That lockdown could be served to fake out and rotate back across the map, but more likely just to sit in position and claim the space afterwards. FUT will be conceding it all.
Yeah, at least they didn't manage to get the thrash back, but that early usage again just trying to deny the same sort of push that came through in the last round, and the rest of the team looking to build up in this retake. Now, you have to bear in mind, in terms of utility, there's a couple of flashes. I was going to say there's no paranoia to get them back in. They don't need it. T1 went looking. They wanted to fight. They wanted to scrap, and because of that, they now find themselves in a 5v2 scenario. Flank comes through from Modge as well. Munchkin needs to pull off one of the most ridiculous clutches you ever will have seen, and well, they're already spamming into the smoke. They know where he is. It's all too easy for FUT.
The patience after those fights as well. They took their time on the way back through. It certainly paid off. For T1, it's been a much better start than what we'd seen previously, and they're going to go for a timeout to attempt to recover on what has been a shakier, more recent memory. Losing 2 of the last 3 rounds, that retake in particular, I think will have them shaking a little bit because they got completely outpaced on the way back through.
Yeah, I think one of the things they're sort of struggling with is if FUT managed to read where that early contact is going to come in, because of the pace of their hits, the second it seems like they get disgruntled or disrupted in what they're doing, the round just falls apart. And this one, I think if I'm Autumn, I would have taken a pause as well, because that was a domino effect. You had that sort of initial fight that just didn't go their way, and then seconds later, you just have player after player trying to take a risk to get them back into the round. Like, that's not really what I'm expecting to see from the likes of T1. And also, again, as the Death said, I feel like that's just playing into FUT's hands. Like, you're trying to play aggressive versus a team that's very good at playing aggressive. Like, they are very ready for those sort of fights to come through. Now, at least for T1 as well, that the finances have been broken. So that's going to be the decision. A hero rifle once again for Sire player. We've raved about it already throughout this series. He can definitely take rounds into his own hands, but it's definitely been easier said than done. And I'm still looking at the assist count. Adacaptan, he's got his first kill, but he's up to 13. I wonder how many of those are just from placing a smoke.
Right there.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? It can be farmed up pretty easily, but...
High value assists. His cast is going to be insane.
Oh yeah, off the charts. Well, round 9's about to kick off, and we'll see those barriers go up as a team fights for the lead. A side of FUT, I mean, look, like we've been saying, Cracks, the Gecko, it's all right. Cracks, though, he himself,
yeah, he's
unreal.
nuts.
Having a great game so far. Shock dart through, double bounce, notification found. They've destroyed the alarm bot, but not the alarmee. It's Modge deleting Carpe. And that puts them in a bit of a rough spot. Their flank protection not there, and, well, their flank wide open. Cracks has walked into it.
There's a reason the Turkish players only play the Vandal. It's normally because of the instant headshot. Sire player, though, can match them in that, at least. Now, they are going to have themselves an afterplan here. The turret destroyed for no reason other than fun. He is dead, but just in case, look how fast this flank is, though. Nobody actually watching in this direction. In fact, Zedek could be in trouble here. Currently using his Trunica's jumping back and spots half of the team. The stun has caught him as well. There is no chance for him to survive this one. And in fact, Adacaptan, well, he may be getting assists, but he can also frag in his own right as well. A clean push back through into this round for FUT. They're going to regain the lead for themselves once again.
Well, Adacaptan, he's just tripled his kills on that one.
Yeah, not bad.
Like to see it. 5 rounds on the board, lead theirs. And T1, they're having a lot of success getting onto the site. I think that's what we've seen certainly over on C in taking that control. The A side as well, just a few rounds ago, they burst through with relative ease. But the same as what we'd seen over on Pearl. When FUT are playing those retakes, when they're making that decision ahead, yeah, they don't look like they're breaking a sweat.
Once again, early build-up. This round looking maybe like a bit more of a default for the side of T1. We've seen them go very aggressively, direct into sites, and as has been mentioned, either they've been slaughtered on the way in or the retakes from FUT have been fantastic over the last few rounds at least. So they're going to try and wait, spot out some of these early fights, and well, Adacaptan is already going to have to use a little bit of that utility. Again, this is something the desk mentioned. Just try and bait out some of that util a little bit earlier on. Again, though, with how many kills Cracks has been able to get, he can use that Thrash just to search, make sure that nobody has been able to get back in And now T1, they start to build into this site once again, but they have got to be wary of the spams.
Yeah, it was a nice shot onto Munchkin already. He's in danger. I think it might have been him going for that orb. One away from Rolling Thunder now. Been used to great success previously to get them into sites, particularly A, where they now have a lurker. Just looking at the map, you can see Ban has snuck past Kiwi. He's now tucked in the corner. Space will be taken. It's Saya player coming up close, but further back was Munchkin. He's caught. Cloudburst, good the dodge on the Paranoia, but he'll still be taken down. Carpe with a good frag. They haven't spotted out a captain. He's doubling up, holding strong on the site. He doesn't need any help. Saw Thresh go in, but well, he already had it on lockdown. Zeta, the last man alive. We'll find the first. Zeta captain's kill streak finally coming to a conclusion, but with just a couple of seconds left on that clock, I think we know this round is going into FUT's corner. The question is, will the rifle be carried through? The timing was nearly terrible, but it looks like he's locked it in.
Now, that's the thing. What a round from the side of FUT. Like, you just got the individual players. Like, you had that lurk from Ban, giving them the space onto short, but they were completely unaware of other control that was still held. Then when all the information gets spotted, and a captain on his own just walks into the site. The rest of the team trying to use util to set him up, but honestly, he didn't need it. It just went completely unchecked. It was like T1 in their mind went, okay, we have sold this fake. They're going to be on C. There's no way there's anybody in the corner. And that's mistakes you can't afford to give, because we've already seen it throughout this game so far. The players on FUT, each in their own right, will destroy you if they give them a moment's notice. Back to the pacey rounds. Rolling Thunder again. This is where they had one of their successful rounds. This time, though, Moj is out. And Kiwi, well, again, uncharacteristic, but it's a miss.
Oh. And he catches that one. Okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. All right, Kiwi over to the rifle. You know he's going to be used to claim some space in the way through. Stun held. Mr. Fallen's caught at least one with that. Aftershock for down below, oh, and that's a free kill. Zeta was caught in the turret. In the drone, I should say. Saya player is good for a double before being shut down. The operator doing a hell of a lot of heavy lifting on the way back into A. And another successful retake for the side of FUT. T1 starting to slip up, losing their lead.
Yeah, and I also think FUT are actually improving the way they're playing this A site quite a bit. In a lot of the earlier rounds, when Rolling Thunder was online, they were being caught by it, and then players were going down.
Yeah.
Instead, they fall back. Like Moj just gets out of there immediately and just lets Kiwi find that opening kill. Now you're going into the same retake that you were already winning with an extra player on side. So if FUT are improving things as they go along, T1 need to find something here. They have lost the last 5 of 6 rounds. They were looking in a good spot, sitting at 4-3 up, and now, well, a Blade Storm, Hunter's Fury, some decent ultimates online. The thing is, though, I wonder if, again, it's just going to come down to the retake, especially with that lockdown available for Moj.
Blade Storm online. Saya player could be very dangerous with this. A pre-fire blade around the corner. And he's on his way through. Stun caught. He's up top, safe for a moment, allowed to recover. Will he be spotted after? No, not before he can grab a kill without a captain down. Blades refreshed. And the site seems to be theirs. Even that judge going to be quite scary, as exactly for that reason. It's up close, it's able to spam in the smoke. And if anything goes awry, he has that Blade Storm still to fall back on. This could be a tough fight for Kiwi.
Yeah, I almost feel like at this stage, someone has to make a mistake. And while Carpe's doubled up, kept this further into their favor, Kiwi will be able to get one, and actually Mr. Farland's found another. Somehow, in this 2v5 scenario, it's beginning to look competitive with an isolated player within the smoke. Munchkin has a chance to put this one to bed, as Mr. Farland is now all that remains. The other 2 players just waiting on long, and T1 will claim their 5th at the hands of Munchkin. It's definitely not the prettiest half they could have come out with, but it might just be enough.
Yeah, the numbers on the board, certainly enough for T1 at this point. I don't think they can feel too shaky, but an important note that this was FUT's map pick. So that was the half they wanted to start on for the side of T1, already out of the way. And with the context of how it began, maybe they wanted that little bit more. At the end of the day, though, there's some serious signs of life on that FUT side. They've come in for revenge on the international stage. They want to take a couple dubs home this time. An impressive beginning. 7-5 at the half, and a 3rd map needed for FUT, or for T1 to take this all the way. Let's see what the desk makes of their chances.
Indeed, indeed. And now we're all curious whether or not T1 has it in them to be able to bring this back, force that map 3. But let's jump into this real fast because it did feel like T1, Baby Bay, were starting to recognize some of the faults in the situations that they found themselves in. But the consistency, it's not quite there yet. And that's not what I had expected here at Champions for T1.
Yeah, like from the first gun round, I was like so surprised. I was like, wait, like they're actually waiting and letting FUT flood in, and they like realized it. I'm like, oh yeah, like they realized that they're flooding in and they can actually just punish them for free. And then later in the half, they just revert back to like cutting these corners and not waiting for that flood. And you have Captain just going in and just killing 3 people, like just sliding in the sights. Like we cannot be cutting these corners, and we have to be aware that FUT is a team that likes to flood. Their retakes are awesome. So, like, I mean, they at least they made the adaptation a little bit, but you know, I was hoping I could see it throughout the entire way.
And FUT, on the other hand, were really good to adapt to that, to take a little bit more time, not always playing for the flood, and sometimes leaning instead into these set retakes, which work really well when you're combining the flash or the stun with that Gecko Dizzy. And they've gotten themselves a really strong half here. 5 rounds on defense is great, at least, and they've got even more than that. And for Krax, he was, again, the player taking charge. He was the star on Pearl, and here playing the Gecko as well, he's still looking so comfortable. I was impressed mostly at how well they were able to give areas of the map and re-clear with Krax's util.
Yeah, that is most definitely a thing that, you know, again, you want to see this kind of player, right, pop off in these moments like this and to be so consistent. Do it not just on a different agent on Pearl, but to do it here with the Gecko as well shows how much work this team has put in. Let's send it back over to the casters.
Thank you so much, Golden Boy and the desk. Yes, half 2 is ready to kick off. Just a few seconds until the barriers go up and T1's defensive side gets put to the test. Now, this is certainly not the most difficult, right? They're only 2 behind, but the pistol round, I think, carries a fair bit of weight in this game.
Yeah, it's definitely not been their strong suit so far, and although they may be Gecko runners themselves, they definitely don't run it on this map, so it's going to be something that they have to be prepared to adapt to. Those flashes, we've definitely seen players stare right into the eye of a Dizzy a couple of times. Counter stuns already. Just trying to help out Carpe, but already being spotted by the wingman. He is going to have to fade off of this one. B site looks to be the point of call for FUT, but with Killjoy util and a contact player in Munchkin, you'd have to hope for T1 they can get something on the entry here.
Well, Kiwi's got some control. A player spotted as well. He'll look for the fight, and that's an execution.
Beautiful paranoia.
Munchkin down immediately. The paranoia even stopped the players further back from peeking out to help. There were 2 ready to swing. Carpe and Ban, and both have been found by Kiwi. They didn't take the fight earlier, and they were forced into it later. This is looking rough. T1 blocked out completely. And even that late flank that they're attempting with Saya player, there might not be anything left to flank. They have enough bodies to cover more or less every single angle at this point. And once they catch out Zeta, it gets tough. Oh, wow. Yeah, well, we won't even talk about that for Saya because it's an ace for Kiwi. Kicking off half 2 with style.
See, this is the thing. Like, I know we go back a couple of years. We talk about the old school, maybe like a Supermassive Blaze, Turkish Valorant. It was just run in, get headshots, get all of the kills. You look at those first 3 kills for Kiwi, every single player was blind. Supportive flash off the paranoia. Pop flash came through as well from Mr. Fallen. The last player, I think, was split second away from getting stunned, so obviously they're moving as well. It might not count as an assist, but it definitely was one. That was just a beautiful round, setting up the superstar of FUT. Exactly what you want to see from the likes of them. And now, well, if the start in both halves has gone as badly as this, can we see some sort of response? Saya, well, there's definitely no fear here, but there is an alarm bot waiting. That's going to be destroyed. That gives Anna Captain a chance to protect. Okay, that was very, that was very optimistic from Zeta that there would be no one there. And they're still trying to find him. Anna Captain just lurking around the back lines has caused them, well, mass amounts of problems.
Good luck to Ban and get more than this. Already spotted out and dealt with. Spidey sense is good for Ada Captain, and 9 rounds found. The lead extending further and further in their favor, and for T1, I do think that this is where they need to put a stop to it right about now, because one more loss here, push down to an eco, and FUT are knocking
they can't lose
on the home stretch. Yeah, very much so.
That's the thing, we're falling into the same position as last map. Like the early rounds looking so good for FUT, and keeping them nice and clean. They're going to come in with a rifle. Kiwi only 2 away from getting that Blade Storm as well after farming up an ace in that prior round. And already they're going to take a lot of initial space into mid. This seems to be pretty much their pressure. Look how aggressive he is! He's just got straight through! Already just decimating the side of T1. This was the round that they desperately needed to win. He's just opened things up with ease.
Made it look like an eco-ton. I mean, they've got rifles on the other side. They were ready, watching for that push through. And it certainly didn't look like it. At this point, I'm looking at the body language, looking at Ban's position on the minimap, and it's a save. They've called for it. Mere seconds into the round, and you're 5v2 behind. Weaknesses for FUT, and well, not for much longer even. Out of captain.
They're going to get them.
He's picking up a rifle. There you go.
I think they're expecting some sort of congestion here, but they've almost just had to give up on this one. And you can't really blame them for it. It was such just a direct, fast-paced take. We spoke about like supportive utility and basically how that was utilized. They sent a stun and a paranoia through into sewers. So that was the ruse. It was like, yeah, we're pushing. You remember last round when we used all our util to kill you off in sewers, and then he just dashes straight into the A side and kills both players, or B side, sorry. That's insanity. I think there might have been a supportive flash, but I don't think it made a difference. That was just complete distraction play from FUT, and T1, well, they fell for the bait.
Yeah, oh, they absolutely did. And you could see immediately they realized seconds into that second kill for Kiwi, oh, we've been played.
Yep.
This is done. This round is over. And they go for the save. Feeling dejected like that, just a couple of rounds into the second half, it's not going to be putting a smile on their face on the side of T1. In fact, a timeout has been called as this squad attempts to get to the bottom of their problems.
Yeah.
It's going to have to be a quick resolution found because they are running out of runway.
And that's the thing as well, the manner in which they're losing the rounds is just, again, like firstly...
It's over. It's over, man.
Just fantastic supportive utility that's coming through, but then just the bait and switches from FUT. They seem to be so tuned in. And it's something we've spoken about many times when it comes to Turkish teams. It's that leadership. So somebody at the helm to actually have these adaptive ideas, these smart setups. You have to give credit to the coaching staff as well for FUT, because they have come into this game ultimately with either people putting this game level or in T1's favor, and they have looked by far the better side into this first matchup. Now, of course, as we said, we expect that this bracket might actually go as Sideshow said and end up in a rematch, which I can't believe I'm saying that. FPX are probably going to win the whole group now, just based off that curse, but this is a rough position for T1 to be in. And just look at what they've got. 2 rifles, pistols, and on the other side of things, they've got everything to play with.
Nice aggression, though. Saya's not only caught... Whoa,
what?
No! I don't know how he went down there. Sure, the trade is in. Just another remarkable fight from Kiwi. The advantage, though, is certainly falling into the court of T1. 2 rifles to work with. One of them is in the hands of Ban, who we see on the C side. Players coming from either angle. They know that Carpe is here now, and they'll shut him down. Only Ban left to find, and Krax does, well, makes it look easy. He'll be left alone. Still has his wingman to work with. Maybe the plant can go down. He can try to move to a post plant already, start the flank.
He'll get his ult off this as well.
Oh, that's huge.
It's tough to use in these sort of scenarios. To isolate a player. If he gets it into the 1v1, you almost have to say that this round is his, and Zeta is going to try and sell a ruse. Maybe that both players are coming in from that direction. Yet to move is going to be Munchkin. The spray's a little bit wild. He's going to go running back into his opponent. Munchkin will just about find the victory in that round. A little bit too close for comfort, and even a world where we might have seen a knife, but T1, they find something. They dig deep and manage to get themselves back into this one. 10-6, still a hefty lead, and well, I think the finances are going to be okay for this one.
Yeah, I think they're pretty comfortable for this and the next if they need it. Krax again, showing his prowess individually. That was 3 kills, and as you said, 20 HP there.
Did he even get stunned? I don't know if he did.
No, I think because he took his knife out and jumped so quickly, he avoids it, but
yeah, he's dead anyway.
Leaps straight into the waiting arms of his opponent. If he commits to having his knife out, doesn't try to switch, just to a wild swing.
Or even if
like
he just, the guy was one bullet off, so he probably kills him off that. But, hey, you can't blame him. Thrash straight through, as said. He has farmed this all up so many times throughout this game. Doesn't connect onto anyone this time. Kiwi's gone dashing into the site. Made space, but Carpe's done well. Instant trade again, though. It all seems to come tumbling down. Ban at the back of site is the last point of call. His teammates with a supportive flash, but maybe he doesn't need that support. However, does he know? There's a player right below him. He's seen the gun barrel. Eventually, he'll make the realization. The penny drops, and it leaves just Cracks alone in this one. And again, T1, they will hold the site, but mostly because of Ban.
Yeah, phenomenal round for Ban, and no better time for him to go stepping up. We were about to see things slip away, but now just 3 rounds behind. Ulti's coming online as well. Some weaknesses for the side of FUT. This could be the start of T1's redemption arc this year, seeing the barrel for so long. Good thing he was able to connect eventually. Captain thought he'd flown under the radar.
This might be one of those rounds where you see the confidence come to bite them a little bit. That was a lot of individual fights handed over to Ban. Everybody expecting to win their battle themselves. Kiwi, well, we've mentioned him going in solo every single time, but it's actually Saya getting caught. The trades coming across the map, individual fight after individual fight, but T1, they've come out on top here and have a lot in their favor. 2 ultimates if they need them, and a man advantage.
Yeah, T1 know that they're happy to play retake on A if needed. Too much of a risk to stick around on site, but they have a lockdown which can very comfortably get them set up. There you go. Star of the show.
Yeah, we love Wingman in this house.
The little bro, he's got the plant in. He's bought them that little bit of time now as the clock moves into their favor. Rolling Thunder avoiding it at first. Mr. Fallen actually grabs a kill off of utility, and he's still standing strong down below. Captain on for another. Mr. Fallen still hasn't been rooted out. They just couldn't deal with this breach, and every single player shut down on the way to take that duel. Yeah, 11-7.
I would like to see it in the replay. I'm not certain of it, but I think Munchkin's ult actually hits Zeta up top. So he's unable to react to anything else. I think it goes across the site, and either that or he just jumped at exactly the same time. But it looked like it went through initially, and it just gave them that extra bit of time for a more disjointed take. So again, these are things that it just can't happen when you're facing off against FUT in a post-plant situation. And well, look at this from Saya, straight through. Looking to try and take this round with a counter util, hit by a paranoia and a bullet to the face. They've not got a lot to play with in this round, continuing the push, and they almost lose another life. Carpe tagged desperately low.
Yeah, left on 35, lockdown still in his back pocket. He'll be avoiding further fights. Phenomenal beginning to this round for the side of FUT, and again, we see that discipline in play. Captain and Kiwi holding the extremities for the first 30 seconds or so, but now the squad starts to group up. They'll look for a new target to take down, and it looks like the C site is what they have their sights set on. Ban tucked in that corner. He'd managed to sneak his way here just a few moments ago. Shot. I mean, that very much looks like that should be the only player here. They're not checking Ban at first, and they paid the price. A double kill. The Hunter's Fury fired out a little too far away from the first, and nothing found in the second. This is right back into play for T1.
That looked like it was on, especially the first one, but hey, Ban has made this one competitive. Started to come alive over the last couple of rounds. Moj, that are just unable to connect. That's been a couple of opportunities in this round, and Carpe, well, he's low. Wanted to try and take a risk. Now just look at the space that is there for FUT. The other player is so desperately far away. Now that alarm bot likely not going to be online from that sort of distance. Incredibly far away, but I think the position of Moj holds a lot more value. Someone they need to clear. Zeta has done well though, but the trade is immediate, and now it's left all onto Munchkin.
Full belt of utility to work with, at the very least. That smoke fading. There you go.
Look at the ults.
The Rolling Thunder will be committed. They're not risking anything in this 2v1. A stun through gives away his position. Maj knows exactly where to look. And another found for FUT. Same as previous map now. The home stretch is in front of them. 1 round of the next 5 needed. And they'll be shutting T1 out of this opening series. So far, the squad of T1 only finding 11 rounds across it. Not enough to win 1 map.
Yeah, no, a really good sign for FUT. Like, we looked at them coming into this tournament after having close games at Tokyo versus the likes of attacking Seoul, losing to DRX, who definitely looked shakier. That was, I think that was before they actually subbed out Foxy as well, so a great sign for them thus far in this game. Ada Captain, is he actually just going to stick that all the way through? He did. He held it.
Oh.
He went onto the site and just found an opener. No fear in this man's heart. They've still got a couple of positions that they need to clear. The lockdown's going to make things more awkward, and the position of Munchkin could do serious damage. They're just going to back out of there. So much time on the clock that they don't need to risk it.
Oh, okay, 1 player detained. There was only space for Ada Captain. Couldn't fit 2 players in the safe corner, the safe spot. T1 back into A, 3 players here. I thought FUT were out, like fully out, once Krax didn't go for the plant with the wingman. Once the spike went running back all the way down A long. And indeed, they will be changing direction, but very, very slowly from the shadows. Spots 1 player, but yeah, you're starting to get the idea that they're rotating. If you're on the side of T1, the plant coming
Lil
through.
Bro's got this one. Don't worry. Not need for any help here.
Boom. That's how we do it.
They
now
even tried to
very
paranoid.
quickly on it. They're going to try and defuse this already, tapping it immediately and causing this utility to start being thrown out. How has Krax found that? A nail in the coffin for the squad of T1 as Krax picks up even more. The flank is on its way, and that will do it. 13-7. An incredible debut for the side of FUT as they take their opening series 2-0, barely breaking a sweat.
Yeah, the first Turkish team to make it here to Champions. We've had individual players here and there, but they're the first full squad to do it, and what a debut. A 2-0 dominating fashion. You're looking at that scoreboard, and well, 5 of the top 6 come from their side of things. Kiwi leading the way, but it was an incredible performance from the likes of pretty much everyone. Even when you look at the role switches, the supportive utility. At a captain at one point, I think he had 1 kill and something like 11 assists. He ends up 13 and 11 overall, just having an amazing performance. And for T1, it's not a death sentence. They're not out. There's definitely that lower bracket still to go, but they're going to have a real resurgence going into their second matchup. Otherwise, they could be in some serious trouble because FUT are definitely here to play in Los Angeles.
Oh yeah, they're not messing around, and like we saw, the benefit from hearing from Guys earlier, their coach, he was saying that they haven't changed a bunch. They're just working on perfecting what they were already working on, and I think they're getting pretty close. Players like Kiwi on the international stage, we knew he'd deliver. Players like Krax, like Maj, who in that first map was unbelievable, and we are seeing multiple different facets where FUT have stepped up their game. This is getting scary for anybody else that sat in their group.
But that's the thing. If they can keep getting away with everything they did in this first matchup, then yeah, I think anybody they come up against is going to be in some real trouble. I will say, though, that I do feel like T1 made a lot more mistakes than they're going to make further down the line. I have to hope so, at least, like angles not being checked and just silly things that I didn't expect to see from a roster that's normally sort of playing in a very solid structure. Sure. It wasn't quite there for them today. First match on the stage, maybe I'll give them a little bit of wiggle room, but for FUT, I don't think it gets much better than that. That was sublime.
No, it really was, and it depends. You know, you can take your pick in that series. As I said, someone like Krax towards the end, certainly. Kiwi the whole way through. Maj, map 1, phenomenal on that Viper, and I think the reality is if they can hit this level in every game, hey, it might not stop at top 8 as a goal for the squad. They might be looking to go all the way.
You're just trying to put a smile on Sanan's face, aren't you?
You know,
I see the pandering there. I see the pandering.
I see.
Yeah, you know.
I see Burke on the stage without earphones. You know, I'm working for another hoodie.
I was about to say, how much more FUT merch do you need? No, I think that, yeah, especially with the group that they're in, like we look at Group B, and although GB earlier in the day had his little clown costume on saying that this was the best group, this is definitely one that has the most opportunity for teams that I think if you put them maybe in a Group D or Group A, it would have been a lot tougher for things to get done. But again, I just love seeing the support. It's fantastic.
Yeah, no, it's always great. I mean, that same watch party location has been locked in for all their big games, and
it's awesome.
You know, every single time they're out there delivering. Seeing them on a stage in Istanbul is something. But for this squad, I think now that they have serious potential, Tom, up their sleeve.
Oh, for sure.
I don't know if you want to call it yet, but
just look at them.
Favorites in the group?
Oh, I don't know about that one. I think there might be an E and a G that have some... might just slightly take the favor on that one after their performance in Tokyo, but it makes me excited to see that match coming up, or likely coming up. Obviously, FPX still stands in EG's way, but, well, unless they have a serious drought, I think that's probably the upper bracket match we're getting.
Yeah, probably is. Well, I'll tell you what else we're getting. An interview down on the stage. We got Yinsu standing by with Atta Captain.
By Atta Captain from FUT and Scala, who's going to be helping with some translations here. First of all, Atta, welcome to LA. Congratulations on your first win. It wasn't just a win, it was very, very clean. So tell me, what was the biggest thing that you guys wanted to improve from Tokyo? What were you working on in the preparation phase, in the break ahead of this tournament?
Ata, öncelikle tebrikler. Yani sadece bir galibiyet değildi. Aslında biraz da stomptu ve çok temiz geçti diyebiliriz bu galibiyet için. Tokyo'dan buraya gelirken en çok odaklandığınız şey neydi? Yani en böyle geliştirme konusunda odaklandığınız, önemli olduğunu düşündüğünüz şey neydi bu arada?
Öncelikle teşekkür ederim. Bu Los Angeles'ta cidden çok iyi karşılandık. Tokyo'dan da şu zamana en öncelikli geliştirdiğimiz şey açıkçası birazcık daha taktiksel yoğunluğa gittik ve bireysel bir çalışma vardı. Tokyo'dan sonra da zaten fazla bir boşluk bırakmadık. Direkt Champions için çalışmaya başladık. Yani ekstra fazla bir şey diyemem. Son bir aydır tryhard çalışıyoruz Champions için.
First of all, I want to thank you as well. And Los Angeles is beautiful. We received a really warm welcome in Los Angeles. From Tokyo, the thing we improved the most was we improved ourselves tactically mostly. We did prepare individually, but we focused more on tactical issues. Aside from that, we didn't take that many breaks between Tokyo and here. So for the past month, we have been studying, we've been practicing really hard, and we're ready.
We could see that, we could see that. Now, speaking of the strategies, Fallen on KJ on Pearl, you on Brimstone, we saw some changes. So talk me through, why did you make those changes on Pearl?
Taktiksel, Pearl'de de bazı değişiklikler gördük. İşte Fallen Killjoy oynadı, sen Brimstone oynadın. Bu tercihlerin sebebi neydi?
Başından beri zaten Pearl'le öyle oynuyorduk. Ekstra bir şeyler gerekiyordu Champions için. Biz de onu burada sunmaya geldik.
Well, we have been playing Pearl like that for quite some time, but we needed something extra for Champions, so that's what we brought to the table.
Were you happy with the performance today? Yeah?
Yeah, I'm so happy.
We're happy as well to see you happy. And last question, at Tokyo, you also had to play group stage, but unfortunately, you didn't quite get further than the group stage. You have to play group stage again here, so does everybody else. So what do you make of your group at this tournament?
Evet, Tokyo'da da grup aşamasında oynayıp çok ileri gidememiştiniz. Burada da grup aşamasındasınız. İşler farklı olacak mı? Beklentilerin neler? Ne düşünüyorsun buradaki grupla ilgili?
Yani en son AG ile oynadığımızda, şu an aynı grupta olduğumuz için konuşuyorum. Kötü bir mağlubiyet almıştık. Lotus haritasını kendimiz kapatamamıştık. Ama şu an bu aldığımız üstün bir galibiyetle, yani ezici demeyeyim ama üstün bir galibiyetle beraber yani üst turda daha da sert oynayacağımıza eminim.
I can speak about EG because we played against EG in the previous group as well. Against EG, like it was kind of our fault. We could have closed it out in Lotus, but we couldn't do that the previous time we faced one another. But right now we started off with a clean victory, and we plan to use that going forward as well, and I think we will have a good group.
Oh, I can't wait to see it. Thank you very much, Atta Captain, Teşekkürler, Scala as well. Thank you very much for translating. And for the FUT fans, it's great news for them because we are going to be seeing Atta Captain soon, and EG will also be taking the stage.
Today, one team will move straight to the knockout bracket and 4 more will make their group stage debut. And here we go. 2 teams that have showed us in Tokyo that they have what it takes to compete with the best, but now they need to go toe-to-toe against each other to decide who moves on in this bracket. It's FUT going up against T1.
but he's able to hold on for the moment. Even still, though, initial frag goes the way of Kiwi's doing work, but Carpe just gets 2 through the pit. A little bit more for him as well. Yeah, he's left a teammate behind as well. I don't think Krax was expected. The flank from Sire will dome one, but the trades are coming back thick and fast.
If someone from FUT overextends,
what
was that? It won't last too long without a captain. The trade out is good for Mr. Full, and FUT with 13-4. Their opening map in Los Angeles could not have gone much better. One in the form of Ada Captain, the other being Krax, and that angle is certainly held down by Krax. Well done for FUT to find a third. Carpe with a good frag. They haven't spotted Ada Captain. He's doubling up, holding strong on the side. He doesn't need any help. Well, Kiwi's got some control. A player spotted as well. They'll look for the fight, and that's an execution.
Paranoia.
Ban, and both have been found by Kiwi. Oh, wow. Yeah, well, we won't even talk about that for Saya, because it's an ace for Kiwi. And that will do it. 13-7. An incredible debut for the side of FUT as they take their opening series 2-0, barely breaking a sweat.
Calling all students. Compete in the ultimate VALORANT competition.
The Red Bull capless clutch.
Register now for your national qualifier.